Hello everyone, welcome back to Charmed Rewind! Phelan, are you pumped to get back into the hurricane?
Yeah, much better that than whatever new Charm's doing these days.
It's kind of sad this is a relief after that.
Yes.
Well, we once again chose the episode on Charmed Rewind via a poll on Patreon after doing a random number generator. And we ended up on Season 4, Episode 21, Womb Raider. But we couldn't do this alone. We decided to bring on a very special guest. Hi, 8-Bit Mickey!
Hello, hey! Wait, hold on. I used to do this a lot. Like, hey guys, what's going on?
Okay.
That's how I always started my videos, so there we go.
You lost your touch. You didn't do it or you fucked it up.
Yeah, I fucked it up,
You can't
guys.
take it back.
Oh, God.
Mickey is our expert on Charmed.
Yes,
Yep.
see, I have never seen an episode. I have never... And this is different, because a lot of shows that, like Supernatural, I haven't seen an episode of Supernatural, but I've read through the wiki, because I was interested in the lore. So I do that with random shows and stuff. Charmed has always it's like, oh, that was popular back then, but it's never. I was like, it doesn't look that good though, so I never did it. So I'm completely blind, 100%. I know nothing about this. So
Now you know how good it was.
It's so funny. Like, we're watching it and I'm like, wait, why are they doing this? And you're like, oh, no, I got this. So they got to do this because of the potion, and then they got to mix this together with this, and I got you.
when I watch a show, I watch a show.
I'm taking notes, and it's so hard because, like, they just throw a lot of stuff at you, or a lot of, like, dumb things are happening. I gotta say, this is a very weird one to be your first episode.
I had a lot of questions. I think I still do have a lot of questions.
Even when you know more, you have a lot of questions.
It's a show that makes you ask
an
why.
episode of Charmed, because the characters are very dumb.
It was Dane. Okay, so do you remember who Dane was?
Dane was in one other episode.
Okay, because I
Dane?
love Dane.
That was Jeff Meek.
Oh, was he in one other episode?
One other episode, yes.
What the I don't remember this at all.
Just everything about his mannerisms, because when it get to the underworld, I guess, I don't know, the underworld, I'm assuming, I just assumed it was just like an evil cult and they all had like day jobs and stuff. So like Dane is like saying there like, I deserve the throne, give it to me. And I'm like, I'm sitting there going like, what's his day job? Like, is he like a day trader or like a lawyer?
That's just
like,
what the demons look like on the show.
Okay.
They're just like dudes in robes and shit.
Ah.
Like, and like, I didn't remember if Jeffrey Meek was in more than one episode, because like, they'll just throw in things like this. Like, this is technically their season finale. They have one more episode, but they kind of do this thing where it's like they end the arc of the season and then throw in one more episode at the end that's kind of random. And like, they'll do shit like that. They'll throw things in, like have a character called Dane who wants to take over the throne we've never seen before, but that's your villain for the end.
I was a fan of Dane, but I was pretty upset with how it ended. I was like, God, I really want more of Dane. But
did you watch any Mortal Kombat Conquest? Because the guy who plays Dane was Raiden in that show.
Oh shit, no, I didn't. But that's amazing.
He was excellent in that show. He was also Struycken, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Shao Kahn as well.
Struycken.
Shocking.
Okay, I would like to actually jump into it, and then if you have any questions as we go, maybe like jump into it there. So we're
moving
the plot along.
I got it.
Sound good?
My notes start at the doctor, so where I'll pick up with everything. I'm good.
Okay. All right. So, by the way, I just want to note, Womb Raider, the name of this episode, is also the name of a porn. So if you're looking up Womb Raider, just be careful to specify Charmed.
Yeah, just put Charmed in there.
I'm glad she was able to convince you into coming.
Several times, in fact.
Can I start off by saying that I literally was expecting a tiny Indiana Jones gynecologist or something, and this says episodes Let My Dream Die. So Let's.
That's like something maybe they would have thrown in an early season.
Like he's just
I
like
could see them maybe doing that when the show was fun.
he's like a fairy, and he's like I'm the magic doctor,
Yeah.
for magic babies. So
Yeah. This is in the middle of a whole lot of storyline stuff. So at this moment, where we're picking up in Charmed, Phoebe was the evil queen of the underworld with her husband, the Source. Cole is possessed by the source of all evil, so he's not originally the source. That is why he became extra evil. He was half demon anyway. Phoebe destroyed the wizard who was going to take the source away from him, therefore making this choice and fucking herself and him over. They have vanquished Cole because they're like, we just don't want to be bothered to like save him. So he's dead. She is pregnant with his child, supposedly. They throw a lot of fuckery in this episode concerning that, but this is 2 months after she has been impregnated by Cole, and that's the part that we're at. So the very beginning, Phoebe's in labor in the hospital, and she's only 2 months pregnant, so she's like, oh, something's wrong. I just want the baby to be normal. I don't want it to be like a demon baby or anything. She gives birth. It's not like a preemie or anything. It's just a normal looking baby. And then the seer shows up in scrubs to take the baby away.
I wish it was like that Passion scene.
from
Is it a boy or a girl? It's a demon!
Mama.
oh my god. Well, as someone who didn't know who that character was at all, like I just thought that was a random ass nurse. Like she was just freaking out and reaching out, and she's also the only black character in that room, and then she's like screaming, going like, "Oh, my
you
baby!"
thought, like,
don't let
she was
her
like
take it. I was
being
oh.
racist at the moment.
I was like, this is
Yeah, when
like-
she was saying, please let him be normal, you didn't know about the demon stuff. You're like, oh, that's really ableist.
Oh no, I straight up was like, yeah, I was like, that's a real shitty thing. Like, I would be saying like, please let him be healthy, like let him be healthy, but like, let him be
She was
normal.
having a Gina Davis in The Fly moment right there. Like, don't have a fly baby.
Well, I didn't know that it was a demon baby either. So like you said, like that, like her husband was the source of all evil and a demon, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Like then, yeah, I guess that would be a little concerning. Like, is it human?
Well, the seer, for context, was working with the source and was kind of like his corrupt right hand man who was trying to like take over, which is obviously what she's doing in this episode. So this was all just a vision dream sequence. It seems weird to be a vision because they're not usually that interpretive with Phoebe. Maybe that had to do with the baby. I don't know. They're usually very literal about what's going to happen. So we get the opening credits, and when we get back, it's more replacement music. You can tell because it sounds very bad.
Yeah.
I thought it sounded amazing because I have nothing to reference.
I don't remember what song was there. I just know that's replacement music because that's what it sounds like.
Sounds very garbage track. Like shove this in.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that the intro right after it, that the audio sounded just like a Friends, intro. It was like going into like just the strumming guitar, and it's just like, yeah.
It's the one with the evil baby.
Very sitcom-y.
Well, here's one thing I think you probably picked up, Mickey, after this next scene, is that a lot of this is the sisters bitching about things.
They're so catty and like I mean, they're just so snarky with each other, and I wasn't sure if they were like blood sisters or like sisters of my coven, because all I know is that they're witches.
Yeah, they're sisters
I guess.
by blood. Paige, who's Rose McGowan, she is a half sister, so she has a different father, and she was the replacement for Shannon Doherty after she left the show.
Oh, okay.
The whole deal with the Power of Three is that the sisterhood was like a big part of the show before it became about like sexy costumes.
Oh no, hold on, let me scroll down to all my Power of Three questions, because they all started talking about at the end, and I'm like, what the fuck's the Power of Three? Is this like
Power of Three is their Deus Ex Machina?
Yeah, if they don't know what to do, they're like, do a power of 3.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what. Like, if you want to know what a power of 3 is, that's all we know.
Yeah. It's the end the episode power.
Yeah, I have the power of 3 question mark. Is the power of 3 the power of friendship? Was the real power of friendship the friendships they formed along the way? That's what I had to say about it.
Yeah, it's their Care Bear stare.
It's the power for auto win. Yeah. Game Genie bullshit.
Yeah, it's their Konami code.
I was like, is the power of 3 that like really a replacement for like the power of family or the power of friends? Like we need the 3 of us together, or is it just like no?
Yeah,
it's
it
just
specifically has to do with the Halliwells and the Charmed Ones and them being sisters, and sometimes they've used it with other people related by blood through some loophole, but it has to do with family and the prophecy of the Charmed Ones, whatever the hell that means.
The Royal Halliwell family.
That brings me to my next question, and I'm gonna apologize to your listeners.
Yeah, Charmanders.
Who are already obviously esteemed Charmed experts. So this is like a very much a recap for everyone.
Like,
but
I already know this.
What the hell is a Charmed one?
They're the most powerful witches in the universe, the super special chosen ones. That will do something. Mostly they will bitch about their destiny. Yeah. What is their destiny? I don't know. Bitching. Running columns. Complaining about family issues.
Self-centered assholes. That's
yelling at husbands.
I love them. Oh, wow. Because, like, I perked up. I was like, oh, they said the name of the show in the show. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I get excited every time that happens. So
okay, so the very first thing that happens after the opening credits, Paige is complaining about a date that she went on off screen. I don't know if this is someone we knew of. They don't mention a name. It was just someone she was complaining about being too quiet.
It was
Did not like this
Dane
date.
She went on a date with.
Let's pretend it was Dane. He wouldn't be too quiet.
Yeah.
I will be the new king.
He would just be like, I've got big things going on in my life. She's checking her watch.
And he's like, you want some nectar of me?
Listen, I got a thing. I gotta go. Piper takes this moment to turn it around and make it about her. She's like, oh yeah, I like quiet guys because they're good listeners. And Leo is reading the paper. Huh? She always takes the...
Okay, so they're husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend? Or...
Couldn't you tell by all the love?
Okay, cool. Yeah, they. Oh, I mean, I was gonna make a whole like man hates wife joke, but it seems more like woman hates wife husband joke. Cause, like she's like so condescending. To him.
She barely holds herself back from killing him almost every episode.
There are times when she has killed him, but they've turned it around. She did turn him in. He was ice chunklets, and then they shattered him.
Yeah, she did a Sub-Zero fatality to him.
Yeah, Leo.
He's written like a puppy.
Yeah, Leo is technically undead. Well, we're not really sure. He's kind of a zombie. He's a white lighter, which are kind of like guardian angels for witches. So he has healing powers, and they work for the elders, which are kind of their bosses, and that's who he goes to consult with a lot of the time.
That's why he can do that teleport, and Paige is half dead, I guess, because she's half white lighter, and that's why she can do that same teleport.
It's very confusing.
Oh, the teleport, I hate it. Like, every time they did...
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
The effect was super goofy looking, and then the sound effect was very reminiscent of, like, Star Trek, like the... world.
What came back didn't live long, unfortunately.
I'm assuming this is, like, a constant throughout the show, because for me, the sounds in this episode, sound effects, are the most stock sounding, like they're so generic, and I've heard that sound before. Like every time they've done so, when we're going through, I have them when they pop up, like is when, because I'm just going through as we go. Oh, the magic purple sparkles. That's it. When they make the stuff disappear.
All right, so they're sitting down at breakfast. Piper is bitching at Leo. Tiny Bangs Phoebe comes in.
And she makes it about her.
Yeah, she makes it about her. This is a constant contest. How can they make it about themselves? She's complaining about morning sickness, more like all day sickness. Mm-hmm. And she's telling them about her dream that had to do with the seer and the baby. Paige is like, well, I'm gonna look up a spell to try and protect you against the seer. And Piper's like, don't you need to go to work? Go to work. Phoebe follows Paige out of the room. She's like, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna go help Phoebe, maybe.
I do like Leo mentioned that Phoebe chose to be evil earlier.
That's the part they always forget.
It's like, but Phoebe didn't choose that.
This whole thing, this leads me to this next scene. Okay, so Phoebe is following Paige, and she's like, hey, look, we need to talk. You were right about Cole. No one believed you, and you're like, he's bad news, but you were right, and we had to vanquish him, and we gave him peace. What a fucking bitch. Because the thing she is talking about is when they were vanquishing Cole, he knew he was taken over by the Source. They knew that he was taken over, but he wasn't acting of his own accord, much like her in this episode with this baby. Mm-hmm. He is trying to vanquish himself in that last episode. And he's unable to do it, or he's trying to get them to do it. I think he can't do it himself. He tries to kill himself, and he can't.
They stop him at one point and say, like, you don't deserve it.
Yeah, he tries to get them to do it, and they're like, no, we'll do it on our terms.
Yeah, not yours.
And they don't do it, and then later they vanquish him after all of that and blame him for it. And then, like, they go to, I think that was after Phoebe goes to the underworld, and she could save him and then doesn't. Or this is, like, limbo or whatever they go to. And then, like, he's like, hey, I don't really want to be in limbo. And she's like, love wasn't enough. And leaves because she's too fucking lazy to save him. And then she calls all of this peace. We gave him peace. The last time she saw him, he's like, help me out of here. This sucks. We gave him peace.
Oh, that's a lot.
They never called Phoebe into account for her bullshit. That's the thing that annoys me, because if they had called her into account, I would feel better about it, but they don't. They just go, oh, it's Cole's fault all the time.
Yeah, and the show always just ignores Phoebe's bullshit. And it's very irritating.
Well, I mean, that seemed like a constant. Like, Phoebe would, like, screech about something or like do something and then I'd freak out. Sorry, I'm like I'm scrolling through my notes here.
She is kind of extra bad in this episode because of the baby, but there are a lot of things that she clearly made of her own choice.
Phoebe's catchphase in this episode just "baby did it."
Baby did. I didn't do it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
I didn't do it, girl.
Yeah, it's like she's like, baby did it. And then she's all like, when she flips the guy, is like, no, that was me. Yeah. I was like, hey.
Yeah. I just want you to know that wasn't a baby flip.
That was me right before she's completely taken over by the baby.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. Phoebe is feeling weird because of the baby, and Piper already has like an appointment, like a fertility appointment, and she's like, I'm going to give you my appointment. You're gonna go to this appointment. It's like, can you just do that? Can you just say, hey, doc, I'm actually bringing my sister in. It's her appointment now.
Yeah.
That seems like highly, like, no, I mean, I go to the doctor a lot. And so, like, they can't just do that. They have, like, things set up for that specific patient.
Yeah, well, also, like fertility tests and treatments are not the same thing as an ultrasound.
Yeah.
That's a completely different aspect of baby doctoring.
Yeah.
Yeah, the doctor's just like, yeah, sure, let's roll with it.
She's like, you're going.
Is there a doctor in the gym? I'm a doctor.
Then we cut to a bunch of evil dudes in robes, a bunch of demons in the underworld. Jeffrey Meek as Dane is there.
Yep, this is where I started.
Oh, the head priest guy. I believe he was the one that married Phoebe and Cole. He was on the show at one point. He's in like everything. Yeah. This guy. I don't remember the actor's name, but
I liked him. Yeah, he's just that one actor.
He's that one actor. But basically, they're all together because they are trying to appoint a new source of all evil. Which is Jeffrey Meek. And the seer shows up, and she's like, hey, stop. I saw a vision, and the Phoebe baby is actually going to be the new source. And they're like, yeah, but it's just gonna be a stupid baby. Like, how's it gonna rule the underworld? And she's like, no, with my help, it'll rule the underworld. We'll do that. And they're like, yeah, you know what, Jeffrey Meek, I mean, you're just some rando that has no connection to the source by blood or magic. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I guess if she can't prove this baby thing by tonight, we'll give it to you anyway.
I was so rooting for Dane. He wanted it. Like,
it would have been way better.
God, that was his. Like,
he's a real go-getter in the company.
Well, I mean, okay, so they're demons, right? Like, that's like hell, right? Okay, so the source is like
the source of evil,
the devil,
it's
or
kind
something.
Of their leader,
yeah,
basically.
They literally just have the big bad be the source of evil.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, the names are always generic like that. They had a magic school that was literally just called Magic School.
So, if Dane became crowned, would he become possessed by the source of evil randomly? Like,
I guess,
how does that work?
They said he had no connection by magic, which is when you take the source into yourself, or by blood, which I don't even know what that means. If the source has a kid, I guess like the baby, then it would be also a source or something.
Well, because they went on how they said the underworld can't, like, run without a leader for that long. That was the whole issue with the baby being it. So, like, they're like, we need a leader to run. And I'm like, is there just, like, a lot of bureaucracy in the underworld?
The underworld's
or something?
in shambles.
Like, I mean, I don't know. How do they run? It just looks like a prison and a bunch of wailing. I was like, oh, is this hell?
It's really just a bunch of cave sets.
I mean, okay, yeah, that needs a lot of running.
If they'd had Jeffrey Meek as the new source, that would have been infinitely more interesting than anything they do with this episode.
They just can't get him for that many episodes, so this is his last one.
You think he was sad when he read that? He's like, I would have done it. I would have been more than what you just killed me at the end. Like, I thought this was going somewhere.
Like, yeah, I thought this was my big break.
This would be my new Raiden and Shao Kahn. So anyway, at the baby doctor's, at the doctor office, they get ready for an ultrasound. And Phoebe's head lights on fire.
Oh yeah, that was very surprising.
Some terrible effects happen. This is the ultrasound scene.
I wrote down ultrasound noise because the sound effect they used does not sound like a real ultrasound. It's like wah 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 wah. Like, that's how it sounded. Like, I was like, I'm sorry.
Well, have you ever heard an ultrasound for an evil demon baby? I don't think so.
Oh, I guess not. I was freaking out though. I loved it. I loved how scientific the sounds were. It's a very good doctor.
Basically the entirety of the scene is the baby doesn't like the cold gel for the ultrasound, and so it's doing a bunch of
and stupid Phoebe's like, oh, it's self-defense because baby didn't like it.
Self-defense. It zaps the doctor across the room, nearly kills him. Piper freezes the doctor and bitches at Phoebe like, what are you doing? Why are you throwing my doctor around? I need that doctor for my fertility treatment. And then they leave? They just leave him frozen?
Yeah, they just leave him frozen.
The fuck are they doing?
Oh, that wasn't resolved. I just realized that. Oh, that doctor's trapped in hell, probably. Like, he's just like, I see everything.
He's like, please kill me.
He's like, fertility, it's futility.
Do you think like other people walked into that room and they're like, what?
Yeah.
The doctor's frozen. They just like frozen.
Like, the next time they come back, there's like police tape and like people like hazmat suits. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is an anomaly.
He's like Jared Padalecki in House of Wax. Just the eyes move.
That would be a really shitty spell, by the way. If they froze him and he's just conscious and aware of what they're talking about, but they just froze him because it's like, oh, it's too inconvenient to like explain it. So
yeah. So, they're in the attic at the house. Piper and Phoebe go in. Paige and Leo are looking through the Book of Shadows or something. And, Phoebe kind of laughs off the encounter at the doctor's office. She's like, it was self-defense. It's like, you nearly killed that guy.
The gel was cold. The baby had all rights to kill him.
It's fine. You know, a lot of it's just her response that really annoys me through a lot of this. Like, she just kind of chuckles off a lot of stuff where it's like, this is actually, like, really bad.
Well, it gets worse in this scene.
Oh, it's just very concerning. Like, she just doesn't seem to give a fuck.
Yeah, they decide that they need to get a tissue sample from the seer to make a vanquishing potion and get rid of her. And Phoebe's like, oh yeah, there's this baby tonic that she gave me mixed up with her blood that's still in the penthouse in a safe. So if we get that, we'll get the DNA sample. And Paige is like, oh, I'm going to take some more time off of work. Piper bitches at her again for taking time off of work. Why does Piper care this much about Paige's work schedule?
She needs her.
She just wants her to be responsible.
More money for her.
Do either of you want to take this next bit?
Oh, that was the best part. Where someone screams bitch, and then she gets blasted out the Paige gets blasted out the window, and we paused it at that point, and we had to rewind and watch that again. And I wish we did it a few more times because it was very confusing on who was attacking who, because I thought it was Piper attacking it for like the first time around.
I love the idea that Piper did that out of nowhere for no reason.
I would believe it from Piper.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, why is Piper screaming bitch and blasting? Like, was she like, oh, she was, then she looked surprised.
Take your time off of work, bitch.
So it was like the best part. Oh, that's what
I love the plot of this episode involves the evil baby possessing her and her doing evil things. And yet you were still like, I don't know, did maybe Piper blew Paige out of the window? It seems like something she would do.
Piper is the evilest ones.
That's true. So Phoebe just completely like flips her lid there and like she bitch.
Phoebe gives Paige the Marisol special.
That's true. She throws her out the window, and as she's falling, she starts to land on Daryl and orbs out like just as she's landing on him. He's
the
just
magic
over,
purple
like,
sparkles.
What the hell? Come on! Oh man!
What I loved about that too is like Daryl makes no attempt to like catch or block this at all. He just stands there. It's like, well,
he like kind of shudders. Like, whoa.
If she teleports away or she's just gonna land on my head.
I just love thinking of this episode from Daryl's point of view. It's literally, he's just like, yeah, I'm concerned about my friend. Like, I gotta help her out with this situation. And then, apropos of nothing, someone flies out of a window and nearly kills him.
Well, so I'm assuming Daryl is 100% aware of all the magic bullshit, right?
Yeah, he knows by this point.
Okay, because at this point I was like, oh, they straight up like killed her husband, and he's like, oh, we need to make it look like he ran away, like he's covering up a crime scene.
Yeah, he knows about this shit.
Like, man, I was like, man, this guy goes hard.
Their detective friend that helps them cover up their crimes. It's great.
Oh,
it's very convenient.
Yeah, and they really were, because this is what my note is right after this, because they really were going into about this point about how the baby is controlling Phoebe.
Yeah.
And I said they were making it seem like the baby has been aware and conscious while in the womb. Yeah. And that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because that sounds right. And then I wrote, "Is this the abortion episode?"
No, this is the miscarriage episode.
I was like, "Is this the abortion or the miscarriage episode where it's like my baby's the source of all evil?" Oh
yeah. Like, does evil start at conception or is it after birth? Like, it asks some really tough questions.
Yeah, but no, I can raise him right and teach him the good. And then they're like, "No, you need to abort it." And
she was given more excuses for this baby than she ever did with Cole. Yeah. With Cole, it was like he's half demon, so he's genetically predisposed to evil.
Oh my god, that's racist.
I like after Paige teleports back in, orbs back in. That is the technical term for it. She
right beside Phoebe.
Yeah, she nearly calls the baby a fucker.
Yeah.
She's like, I didn't do anything to the fetus.
But she does. She just teleports right beside Phoebe after Phoebe tried to kill her and acts like, yeah, this is fine. I know she won't
maybe
try.
A little bit farther away from her.
Keep away from her.
Was that a common occurrence thing? She's like, what the hell was that?
Phoebe, stop it.
She should teleport in there and then like throw Phoebe against the wall.
I'm not afraid anymore.
I love after this, Leo does, this is classic Leo. He goes like, I'm gonna check with the elders. Bye! Leaves. We're gonna get out of here.
Wow. He did warp out a lot, so it could just be the girls.
Yeah.
Like, it was like,
Don't do that.
I'll go check with the elders.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Daryl comes in, he's like, hey, what was that about? And they're mostly annoyed at him. Like, they do not want to talk to him.
He's like, I'm here to help you guys. And like, we don't have time for you.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, this is more important. They try and brush him off. And he's like, no, whatever I got to talk to you about is at the penthouse too, so let's go. He's trying to help them out from getting, like, from Phoebe being accused of murder.
And them all going to jail for their murders.
He's like, hey, listen, Phoebe, you need to pack up all of Cole's things. You need to report him missing, because it's going to look like you killed him when people find out that he's dead. Yeah. So she's like, all right, I guess.
I don't know. I don't think we left much evidence back there. There's just this burn mark on the
penthouse, and it's
Cole
just
remains.
Yeah. And Daryl says, surprised, this place looks like a crime scene. What did you think? It is a crime scene. You're a detective, you idiot.
There was a murder that happened. And even the source of all evil has rights.
Yeah.
The demon lawyers are going to come in like, no. Foul play. Paige comes in and she like cleans it with magic. There's no personal gain consequences to this.
Okay, so this brings up my a big bolded thing here. I need to know the rules of their magic. Like I heard you guys mumble about that, about the that's personal gain. So what is that?
Supposedly they're not allowed to use their powers for personal gain or there will be consequences. But I think maybe only once or twice do we ever see consequences for clear personal gain.
Oh, okay. Thank you. You've caught me up.
Yeah, and it's not like this is something they forgot later. They do bring it up frequently. They just never actually see any consequences.
Just when they don't want to do something, they'll say, personal gain, can't do that.
Whatever.
Well, it's like when you cheat on a diet, you're like, it'll be fine, right?
This
I walked extra hard. Yeah, that's probably how it is with them.
Is sinful.
So if you imagine in their mind before they do a spell of personal gain, they're like, I've been good. Like, I'm going to spoil myself. Like, and then they do the spell.
Yeah.
I think that makes it a little more
A lot
enjoyable.
of the time, it's like, I really need help, Piper. And she's like, I can't help you. It'd be personal gain.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
It's just being out of the feeling.
I love personal gain only ever applies when they have to help innocents. It's like the opposite of what personal gain's supposed to be. Like, I can't do it. I can't. I love this next part. Okay, so Paige is like, listen, I just want to help Phoebe's pain. Like, I want to help heal her pain. You know, she's going through so much. And then Phoebe's like, you murdering witch! Slaps her. And she's like, baby made me do it.
She says it in a baby voice.
In the worst way. Yeah, she says it in such a shitty way.
Baby made me do it.
And Paige is doing nothing but trying to help her.
Baby made me do it.
They should all be horrified at this point and immediately bind her powers.
Yeah.
Like, they mumble about
they try to do that later, but they don't. It's not successful.
But they take forever to do that, and Piper's like, oh, well, if we bind the baby's powers, we'd bind Phoebe's. Like, who cares? Bind them, you idiot!
Yeah, who cares? Phoebe doesn't even have an active power. She's like the most useless of all of them.
The baby's also like an active hindrance to Phoebe too, like lighting her head on fire, so...
It'll give you like a bit to figure out what to do, maybe. Yeah. Instead of, like, throwing people out of windows.
Oh, God.
They take a look inside Cole's safe and to look for this this baby tonic, and there's nothing inside except a note for Phoebe from Cole, and they touch on that later.
She promptly folds it in half and sticks it in her back pocket.
Yeah. Phoebe is in the bedroom admiring a giant stuffed animal. She's like, Cole gave this to me when he first found out I was pregnant. I love that this happened when he was the source. So as the source of all evil, he's like buying a giant stuffed animal for his evil queen.
I got it for you,
baby.
You
think she hugged her bear and then she went out and killed some minions, came back and hugged her bear again?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
It just cuts to Phoebe stroking bear. Cole gave me this.
She opens the closet and just like Poltergeist starts getting sucked into a portal to the underworld by the seer.
Oh, that was insane.
Daryl grabs her by the legs, so they're kind of having a little tug of war. I wish they'd snapped her in half like a wishbone.
Yeah. I don't know why Daryl bothers, honestly. It's like, oh no, Phoebe, well, I tried.
This is just a very convenient way for them to get this this DNA sample, this tissue sample, because she grabs onto the source's or the seer's earring and pulls it off, and it takes part of the ear off. But it's like, why was the seer doing it this way? It's just so they can get this little earpiece.
Well, they could have just had the tonic in the safe too. So like, it just like seemed like they wanted to make it do a poltergeist effect.
I guess. But there was no reason to do it this way.
No.
So they're making this potion, this vanquishing potion. Paige is in the kitchen doing that, and Piper's like, "Stay in there, don't provoke the baby."
Well, Phoebe attacks her again because she comes out with some potion.
Yeah. Phoebe is listening to some Mozart to calm the baby. Like, I heard the babies are really calm if they listen to Mozart.
She was being a very good mother.
Phoebe is annoying as fuck. No matter what she's doing, she annoys me. She annoyed me in this scene.
I couldn't stand her.
She was very annoying.
Yeah. Tiny Bangs Phoebe is like the worst version of Phoebe. Like, everything about her is terrible.
Oh, God.
So, okay, Leo comes into exposition dump about the source power play. He's just getting the girls up to speed on what's going on. That is his role in the show. Exposition dump, check with the elders. Paige comes in. Phoebe tries to flamethrower her.
That baby needs a serious timeout was a quote from there. So I wrote that down. So there you go.
They deduce that the baby is resentful of Paige for not liking his dad, and like the way that Phoebe says this, like, you know, you never really liked his father.
Oh yeah. She tries to justify the baby murdering her.
Yeah, that was when I was like, I need Cole lore, because like he was the source of all evil and they're that, but you kind of went over that at the beginning. So, and then
yeah, that's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, I'm all good. But at this point in the episode, and I think it's about halfway through, I wrote in all caps, Phoebe, Piper, Paige. They all have P names. I just now got that. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. Prue did too. And then when they went into Paige's backstory, she was left at a monastery with some nuns. And then they're like, yeah, the only thing that the mother said was give her a name that starts with a P.
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Wait, I knew there was one named Prue. I guess that was the other one.
Yeah, that was Shannon Doherty. She does not come back. Except in the comics. That's a whole thing.
Oh god. That's a rabbit hole. I'm going to have to go deep into Charmed lore after this. So thank you for that.
Yeah, do that. Let me know what you think.
Do you like the baby tries to poison Phoebe as well in this scene by turning a piece of fruit into raw meat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was insane too.
I just wrote more bitching at one point. I think the girls are just bitching at each other for a while. Phoebe goes to report Cole missing, and Piper volunteers Leo to go with her. Leo will go with you. Meanwhile, in the underworld, the seer goes to the tall guy from Twin Peaks. And I
was gonna ask, is that a famous actor? Because like he just kind of stuck out.
Yeah, it's the guy from Twin Peaks. He was also he was Lurch in the Addams Family '90s ones.
That's
right?
it. The Lurch. Yeah, that's where I know him from. Oh my god, thank you. It's been driving me insane.
In Twin Peaks, he's just known as the Giant, and that's what he's called in this too.
This is that means it's a shared universe.
Oh.
That's how he ended up in the Black Lodge. The Charmed Ones vanquished him.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
He is the Giant, not related to wrestling, and he's a demon who has been locked in a cage by the Source, and he's been put in the cage where like magic can't get out of it, and he was the magic was set by the seer.
He's been in there so long, he's forgotten his powers, and no one knows how to vanquish him.
Yeah, no one knows how to vanquish him. It's very important that we note that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, the seer is like, hey, buddy, sorry about putting you in this cage for fucking ever. We'll free you if you capture Phoebe. And he's like, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Meanwhile, at the police station, Phoebe's talking to Inspector Miles, and she sounds guilty as hell. She sounds like she killed her husband, and she did.
I loved him. He looked like the penguin. I have that written down. Oh yeah, Trained to Spot a Liar. That guy looks like the penguin, and he's my favorite. And then I said, her husband has a dark side.
You know what? Like, before we recorded this, Phelan and I were like, I bet Mickey's gonna pick some random guy and be like, he's my favorite.
He was! He's my favorite! He was like so doofy. I loved him.
No one had a mustache. If someone had a mustache, it would have been them.
Probably. It was him and Dane, like two winners of this episode for me.
Dane's pretty good. They should have used him more, but Jeff Meek and
Dane was great.
They didn't even have Jeff Meek do any martial arts.
No.
Why do you have Jeffrey Meek and you don't have him do a fight scene?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so great if you just start doing martial arts.
Great.
Jeff Meek can act too well for this show, so that's probably why they got rid of him so quick. Because we need stilted, boring people for our film.
He was making everyone look bad. I would love if he got into like a Matrix style kung fu fight with the seer. He's all like kicking her in the stomach to get the baby.
I honestly would have. If not that, I would have accepted and loved if he just did like random karate moves or like kung fu moves, like to no one in general, like
just
while
does, like,
talking.
A flip and then like a pose, like Tai Chi or
just
something.
As he's yelling, like, I should be the leader.
Like, it's very like It's Always Sunny kind of.
So at this questioning, the questions get kind of personal, and the baby does evil baby stuff. Phoebe throws a fireball into the trash can, sets it on fire. She starts getting some stomach pains, so they leave. Meanwhile, my stomach started growling just as I was talking about that. Oh my gosh, it's an evil baby.
Better not be.
No.
Just to clarify, no, it is not an evil baby. Okay, so we cut from that immediately. Like, this is such a tonal whiplash to Piper at home having a very serious phone call about an appointment. She reveals later this is about her fertility treatments or tests or whatever that happened to be. She finds out that she won't be able to have kids, or it's likely she won't because of like scar tissue from the fights.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. And we're all like, yeah, I wish she never had kids.
Yeah, like I don't wish on anyone, if they want to have kids to not be able to have kids, except for Piper Halliwell, because like that would have saved us a lot of heartache.
They're fictional people. They're not real.
She should have she should have had more scar tissue. I really think like she should have been punched in the stomach a few more times, and then we wouldn't have to.
They should have learned too.
She kind of deserves that.
She does. They should have learned from this magic baby plot, though, that we never need to see magic babies on the show again.
Oh my god, this was like a taste of things to come. There is at least 2 major arcs involving children of Pipers, and it's the worst. It's just the worst.
Oh, that just sounds.
And the babies do like reckless things, and she's like, I don't want to bind their powers.
Oh yeah. It's the same thing as this. Like, one of the babies creates a fucking dragon out of nowhere. It had to have murdered thousands of people. And she's like, I can't bind the children's the powers. I can't. All right.
Oh, idiots.
I love, too, during this conversation she has with Paige about this. Suddenly Phoebe's baby is part of their family, and she's all understanding because she wants to segue into this conversation about not being able to have hellspawn of her own. Like, suddenly it's all understanding.
I know we're worried about her, but we need to make it about me again.
Yeah. She talks about there was an episode where they went to the future and she saw a daughter that she had.
Yeah.
And she's sad, like she won't have this daughter. But it's like, who says that you won't? Wouldn't that confirm that you will have a child? Because the doctor didn't say 100% you will not have a baby, just it's not likely. But if you saw that you had a child, then you know it's possible. Wouldn't that give her some hope?
I said adopting, I guess, doesn't exist in the future.
Yeah. It has to be pure! No half-breeds!
Hollywood blood or nothing.
Is there a term for non-magics and normies or something?
Magos.
Yeah.
No, they're they use the term breeding in this, and at one point in the show, Piper does call Paige a half-breed.
I did write breed in all capital letters at one point. I was just like, oh, that's a term they use, I guess.
I think they just call humans mortals, which doesn't make sense because witches, like, they age and die. They're not immortal, but I think they just call them mortals.
Okay. Not mortal problem. Mornies. Mortals.
Yeah, the normies.
The normies.
Hello, everyone.
Leo and Phoebe get back. Phoebe's head is on fire once again, looking terrible. Looking like Joe Pesci in Home Alone.
Yeah, no, that's that strong Joe Pesci vibes there.
I wish it burnt the top of her head off like Joe Pesci.
Yeah, why didn't it? That would have been hilarious.
Oh, for the rest of the episode, she had that burnt monk look.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
She's in a lot of pain because of the baby. Twin Peaks guy shows up, and Leo throws a chair through him. And he's like, hey, don't touch this guy. And immediately Phoebe kicks Paige into the guy. And they disappear. Punts her in.
Piper's like, well, good thing we didn't bind that baby's powers.
This is so funny. This is like Phoebe's true feelings.
Yeah. She did Sparta kick him, so.
So Phoebe is sitting in the attic, and Leo orbs in. He's been looking for Paige to no avail. They find the Twin Peaks guy in the Book of Shadows. Everything's in the Book of Shadows. And Mickey, the Book of Shadows is their very convenient family heirloom that has pages about spells and monsters and whatever they need at the time.
Oh, okay, cool. I did remember at the top of his page of reading, it did say Mall Man, or it said All Man,
Tall
or
Man?
something. It was like
They just call him the Tall Man?
Tall man?
Tall Man.
Phantasm?
Tall Man. Like,
Tall Man.
And I wrote a little bit after that, Tall Man fucks, because that guy was probably the best part of third. Him, Dane, and the
He was another missed opportunity. Him like Jeffrey Meeks. They threw a lot of things
I
away.
love that
great.
description for giant is tall man. Like, oh, that's what it is.
Tall Man. It's like, I thought it said Mall Man, but I think it was Tall Man. So.
Mall Man would make a little less sense.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what the? I was very
loves the
confused,
mall.
but Tall Man, I think it was, it looked like, the writing was weird. I couldn't read it.
Well, what they find out from the Book of Shadows is that this demon is a portal to other dimensions, and there's no known way to vanquish him.
And then I wrote, this is the abortion episode, isn't it?
You were
Sorry.
suspecting it, and then you're like, yes, I
mentioned it earlier. I was like, this is where I was like, oh, this is the abortion episode. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I would say, hashtag problematic things about their storytelling in this episode.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Piper comes in and gives Phoebe some iced tea. And Phoebe immediately, throws the glass and smashes it. And turns out this was a binding potion she was trying to sneakily give her. And she says, oh, yeah, I wasn't going to tell you because I didn't want the baby to hear and then get rid of it. But then, she was just going to sneakily give this to Phoebe without her consent?
Well,
yeah, no, she straight up was trying to roofie her.
Phoebe's going around trying to murder people. It is probably best to sneak or something like this. But what got me about it was she tries once and is like, oh, well, that's that.
Yep, that's it. Why didn't they have a Paige orbit inside her?
Yeah, or give it to her as an injection.
Well, she would flamethrower them away, so the baby's too
they
powerful.
could get her while she's staring in the mirror at herself.
They trank her. Yeah. So this is when Phoebe says, and this is all very convenient, she's like, the baby isn't me or Cole, it's the source, so that way it'll be easy for us to get rid of it and not go into any of the implications of losing a child.
Suddenly I have no connection to
That's
this.
probably when I wrote. Yeah, that's what I wrote. This is the abortion episode.
Yeah, this is, This really bothers me because, like, she should have some connection, whether or not this is biologically her child and whether or not this child is evil. You would feel a sense of loss. And all of a sudden, she's just disconnecting herself from this whole thing. And this all screams to me like, I guess, pun intended, an aborted storyline. This feels like something they were going to do, and then they were like, no, we don't want pregnant Phoebe, or we don't want her to have a kid, or maybe they found out Holly Marie Combs was pregnant at the time, and they're like, we don't want two going on at once, so let's just pivot to that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I thought this was like either the beginning or the middle of a very long arc, like about a baby. So
I mean, I guess it is part of an arc, but it's the ending of the arc.
Yeah, it seems like a weird thing to have at the end. It's just like, okay, baby at the end. No baby.
Phoebe says at one point too, like, ever since like the baby did its first thing, she knew it was evil. It's like, no, you kept making excuses for it during the whole episode.
That was the baby and the tonic stuff talking through her. It wasn't her.
It's baby made me do it.
Baby did it.
Baby made me do it.
Baby.
Oh, that's awful convenient. Thanks, baby Obama.
Oh my god.
It's
baby
a spring
Obama.
of cold. Thanks, Obama. So the next scene is Paige in a cage. I was just very proud of that. Paige in a cage.
Paige in a cage.
The seer is like, hey, this isn't who I wanted, but beggars can't be choosers. I'll keep you in here, and then like Phoebe's gonna come rescue you, and I'll have her anyway.
Shows how well the seer knows Phoebe.
The seer sends a vision to Phoebe of her obliterating Paige. Just a fireball to the face, melts. It's hilarious.
Oh, it was the best. She was very welp. Like, that's just welp. She's gone.
This is unclear if this was something that was going to happen or if the seer is sending a false vision. I mean, not that she wouldn't do it, but I don't know. This seems like a weird territory to me.
It would have made more sense if they were worried that had actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. I like the explosion. I was all like, I was jazzed about her blowing up because it was like it looked like the Death Star explosion.
Yeah, the generic ass overlaid explosions they use every time someone dies.
So bad.
And I love it. That's how people die in this show. Is they Death Star explode. So that was the best. I was kind of focused on that.
Makes it nice and bloodless.
So I was like, that your stuff just kind of went over my head because I was like, oh man, look at her blow up, and you guys are like, let's see how this impacts like from this character. I'm like, yeah, Death Star.
I love too, like, the seers, like, she says the obvious. It's like, well, Phoebe's gonna come rescue her sister anyway, so I'll have her. And it's like, that's a good plan. But instead, she sends Twin Peaks guy again. Yeah. And so he shows up, and Phoebe decides to go to the underworld with him. Like, she's like, yeah, I'll do this.
Come with me if you want your sister to live.
Yeah, that's exactly
what I was
like,
thinking exactly that. He did sound like Schwarzenegger a bit.
Come with me.
And they're like, no, Phoebe, don't do it. And she lightly throws Leo onto the couch. This is like the most dainty, like, flip onto a couch I've ever seen.
Let me guess, baby did it? No, me did it.
Me did
that
it.
Wasn't the me.
Phoebe. It's Phoebe baby. Phoebe did it.
Yeah, baby magic in all caps.
Yeah, baby magic. This part
from
too,
henceforth, it's just baby
so
magic.
Like,
okay.
She says she's going to go with him, but instead, she vanquishes the unvanquishable demon super easy.
Baby power.
Dead in 2
Baby
seconds.
Magic. Using baby magic, which look like silver rays.
Using baby magic, she vanquishes the unvanquishable demon and then teleports out of the underworld. Her eyes are black, so you know it's the baby talking.
I say, I guess Phoebe is evil again, because apparently she was evil before.
Yeah. The seer says a little spell, and now the baby's hers. It's in her stomach. It makes it super easy. The baby is no longer in Phoebe. Storyline done. Whoo! Glad we didn't have to deal with all that.
Like, now that it's in you, I don't have to care at all.
Yeah, now we can vanquish you, and it's fine.
I want to pause for a second and just kind of take you guys through. This is my first Charmed episode, and I want to take you how this episode progressed from I'm worried about my baby to my baby is the source of all evil and controlling my body randomly. The seer stole my baby, and I want my power is what I wrote in all caps. I don't think that was related, but it was just like I'm worried about my baby to baby raise and all this other shit. It was a ride. Thank you.
This is a tale as old as time. How many women have had evil source babies that give them super ray shooty powers, and then they're stolen by a seer, and then it turns out genetically they're not related to them at all, so it's fine. Blow that baby up. Infanticide, it's totally fine.
I was very confused. I said, is the baby a real baby or just like an evil source? I'm very confused.
My thoughts are, because I think that they knew Holly Marie Combs was pregnant, because I believe in the next episode Piper reveals that she's going to have a baby. And well, no, because that was the first pregnancy was a fake one. And then she was pregnant for real. And so I don't know. I feel like either way, they were going to have a baby source evil storyline, which is what they end up doing with like Piper's child. And they decided to do it with her instead of Phoebe. But they're like, how do we get rid of this baby without actually killing a baby? How do we have like a...
But they did kill a baby.
They killed a baby, but in an explosion. So they're like, it's fine. How do we not have a miscarriage or an abortion or something that like is kind of like, we don't want to get into those implications. And they try to like paper over it, and they like... It just turns into something even worse, like, because they laugh about it. Like, Phoebe's actually, like, chuckling about some of this stuff.
Oh, God.
It makes her seem like a monster.
She is. She is a monster.
This is a rabbit hole. Well, she is a witch. Isn't that like a spooky bad thing?
And they're supposedly
She's got like a crooked
witches.
nose and green face. And
Yeah, I want a Charmed with realistic Halloween
I mean,
witches.
they are pretty evil on this show, so maybe that was the point.
Forget it! I'm not doing it! This episode was badly written!
Okay, so we have Jeffrey Meek is with the robe dipshits waiting to get killed. You're like, all right, so they're just gonna kill him off real easy.
Yeah, he just keeps complaining about the seer being an idiot.
Yeah, that's all he does this whole episode.
That's why I wrote "I want my power" in all caps, because I think that's the
Right.
exact quote from him. I want
Right,
my power.
Power!
Would have been a much better choice.
The seer shows up, and she says, like, I have the source baby now. And they add to this in ADR, some demon in the background is like,
What? Yeah, everyone
I love
was
that
very
guy.
surprised. What?
yeah. The seer teleports in Phoebe and Paige in the cage, and Jeffrey Meek is pissed because she's so irresponsible. He's like, how dare you bring these charmed ones in here?
Charmed ones just sounds ridiculous at this point. I'm like, charmed ones.
It's okay, they can't do magic from the cage. You can't know that!
Anyway, he's dead. She kills him.
Baby powers him. Yeah, more baby power.
Yeah.
Baby power, Death Star blows them
You're
up.
like, why does anyone matter in the show when they just blow everyone up so easily? Like, fuck, it's stupid.
Yeah, there's never any challenge.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
So the seer is going to start her coronation. I guess this is just a formality of becoming the new source.
Coronation seer, this is bad comedy.
I guess part of this coronation is a human sacrifice. So she's going to kill Paige and Phoebe, arguably humans.
They're not mortals.
Yeah, they're not mortals. She explains in a big mwahaha speech how all of this was planned. This is what she was going to do the whole time. It wasn't a rewrite. Shut up. This was all the seer's plan.
She was the big bad all along.
Yeah, they're like, it's cool. All of this stuff with killing the baby and all that. The seer was planning it. It makes it all fine. The baby starts hurting the seer. And Paige makes some comment. I forget what she says, but it's something about the baby that she's like, oh, sorry, that was kind of insensitive, Phoebe. And Phoebe's like, it wasn't me anyway. It wasn't mine anyway. And then they chuckle about it. They chuckle This is like 2 seconds after losing her child. She's like, it wasn't right anyway.
And a new source has just been crowned. Like, they should be way more worried about this whole situation, too.
They were all very nonchalant during the whole cage. Even when Piper was there. It was just like, she's just like, oh, so this is what you call me for?
Yes.
They're just like snarky and witty. And I'm like, this seemed like a much more worrisome event, but I guess it wasn't. Like,
it should be. But the show doesn't care.
I guess this is like a Tuesday.
See, this is what they do. This is their logic. They're in the cage, and they're like, well, we can't use any magic. We can't do any magic out of this, but we can put magic in the cage because in the vision, the seer obliterated Paige with a fireball, so you can put magic inside it. So if they use a Lost Witch spell, then they can summon Piper into the cage. I don't know how any of this makes sense.
That sure makes sense. We can't shoot any magic out anyway. They immediately shoot magic out to bring Paige in there with them.
Yeah. It's not real magic. It was a summoning.
Yeah. That doesn't have to leave the cage.
Maybe it was like a shitty cage and only designed like against like battle magic, and they were just like, because I mean they clearly cast the power of 3 magic like in there too.
Yeah.
So like,
this makes no sense.
So I think it's just an offensive magic.
How strong was this? They said that this was keeping in an unvanquishable demon that Phoebe got rid of in 2 seconds. Maybe this was just like an exaggeration, a boast on the part of the seer.
Maybe the tall man wasn't that strong and kind of a doofy demon that they just kind of like, they're like, yeah, go capture him while they actually have a better plan. Like,
he was sitting in the cage while like the little guy from the Black Lodge is walking by talking about gum, and he's like, I don't know.
He is actually jailed for being super inept.
This is the little guy from Twin Peaks was also in Charmed as a leprechaun. He showed up a few times. Real God. Twin Peaks reunion, even though they weren't in the same episode.
Same universe.
They were one and the same.
All right, so Piper, she bitches at them for transporting her into the cage where their powers don't work. They have no plan. Piper is kind of right, though. They don't have a plan. They're like, all right, now what?
They didn't resolve it. They were just like, I guess we're in a cage. I thought it was going to end there and be like a 2-parter because like you guys are talking about it, but then it ended. Like,
you underestimate how little Charmed cares about pacing, tone, things mattering.
I would love if they just had summoned Piper in there with them and then all 3 of them died.
That'd be so fucking funny.
Just like that.
And then just cut to Leo crying and then the door closing with the little magical sound effect.
Just shows Prue closing the door.
Yeah, she's smiling at last. Her soul has been set free.
Oh, God.
The power of 3 set her free. It all comes together.
Perfect.
You know, if the writers of the show weren't cowards.
Okay, so the seer is performing this coronation, and she starts glowing and levitating into the air. I don't know why I thought of this. I was thinking about that Doctor Who, when he defeats the Master the first time, and he's like floating in the air with the power of everyone talking about the Doctor.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Now it is the same scene.
I guess I don't know. I don't think
she's the power of the evil.
Yeah. I don't think she's completely the source yet, because I think they got to do the human sacrifice. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on. She's gaining power or something, but her head catches on fire because this fetus is just too powerful.
Because baby did it.
It's because only a charmed one is strong enough to carry the source.
No, she wasn't, because she was also, her head was on fire.
But she took it like a champ.
Phoebe is more apt to be the source of all evils.
I mean, Phoebe is more evil than the seer, so it stands to reason that someone weaker than herself would be affected faster.
If it got to Piper, then that'd be the end for everyone.
Well, she carried 2 evil pieces. So the girls cast a Power 3 spell to protect themselves. Somehow they're able to use magic now. I don't know why. The source is using more and more power to try and get through this Power 3 spell, and ends up conveniently blowing herself up and everyone else around her like a dum-dum.
like a killer disco ball. Like
Yeah.
she like was spinning it around, and bright lights were shooting out in like circles that appeared on her body. And then they all Death Star exploded. Like that's how every time someone was hit, they do the same generic explosion, which was amazing. And then I had a total mental breakdown, because I was so confused. This is how it ends. The baby just makes everyone blow up, and boom, the underworld is defeated.
The baby killed itself. It's fine if it killed itself.
Source of Evil's defeated, and the underworld's defeated, and everything just baby blew up. They don't acknowledge the baby at this point like anymore. No. It's just like the source of evil. Yeah. So I was very like, oh, that was a sudden stop.
It's like this episode just feels very horrifically insensitive to like people who have lost children, to be honest. Like, it just feels like they're like, oh, it doesn't matter now. I don't know. It's bad.
I did also like some of the demons blowing up were like wearing Halloween costume level gladiator armor or something. Like, it looked terrible.
Whatever they had in the costume closet.
Like, why are they wearing that?
They were probably reusing stuff from the like Valkyrie. No, the Valkyrie one's later. I don't know. They just had it in the closet.
I really did think they were a cosplaying cult. Like, at first, like, I didn't think it was the underworld. I just thought it was just a group of guys just who dressed up like that. And we're like, yeah, this is the underworld.
They're a bunch of demon weeaboos?
Deaboos.
Yeah, and, like, the underworld was just a term for, like, the dark magic side of things and stuff. Like, this is the underworld, the literal, like, underbelly. And I was like, oh, this is kind of lame. And then it was further explained it was actually hell, and then I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, this whole thing is weird. I love it.
I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Deaboos. I did hear that, Phelan. It was very good.
I did. I'm sorry. Yeah, I love that part. I love that.
It's great. After all this happens, there's like a little CGI pile of the seer on the ground.
Yeah, terrible looking.
Smoking. That's a bunch of pile of dead seer and dead baby. Baby goo.
That's just how it ends.
Yeah, well, everyone's dead. That made it easy. You get another replacement song. Phoebe is sad. Paige has strawberries in her hair. I just noted that. She has a little strawberry. She, like, got dressed up, and she's like, you know what? Today's strawberry beret day. And,
she's dressed up to hang around the house.
Leo orbs in, and he's like, yeah, I took the grimoire. They were using that for the coronation. He's like, I took the grimoire and threw it in the mountains, or whatever. It's gone till we need it for whatever plot. And, Piper is like, he's all celebrating. Leo's celebrating their victory, and Piper's like, don't forget the cost of their victory, looking at Phoebe. And then Leo's like, well, I'm looking forward to having a good baby in this house.
Oh, yeah, it was so awkward.
What an asshole. You fucking asshole.
Phoebe deserves it. Brought cold peace.
Right
Shut
there.
up, Phoebe.
Well, that's how they could only segue to her being like, oh, actually.
I mean,
yeah. She's like, the fertility issues, I don't know. I'm sad about that. We might not have a baby.
honestly, like, after he said that, they should be like, oh, by the way, we haven't forgotten that you turned evil on your own accord, Phoebe, and vanquished her.
That'd be so funny. I'm looking forward to having a good sister in this house. Yeah, so they give Phoebe the letter that they found in the safe earlier. It's a nice little guilt-relieving goodbye from Cole to make Phoebe seem less bad. But what's this? He whispers through the window, help! It's
Help
actually him
me,
asking
Phoebe.
the audience. He's asking the audience for help. Save me from Phoebe, please.
Help.
You don't deserve peace, Cole.
And that is the conclusion. All right, before we get to final thoughts, I would like to ask the ultimate question, and I will ask Mickey first. Who is your Margoyle?
Well, I hate to say it because I love him so much, is the tall man. Because in reality, it seems like he was just a seriously inept demon that, like, they were just like, oh god, let's just lock up tall man or whatever he's calling himself. And then they're like, yeah, go get him while they figure shit out. He died real easily, so I say tall man.
It's a good choice, Phelan.
Phoebe.
Yeah?
With her stupid baby did it catchphrase and just being useless, not trying to stop the baby from killing Paige almost the whole episode. She should have been the first one to say, maybe we should buy my powers for now. This is unsafe. She just keeps making excuses like, oh, well, the gel was really cold, so I guess baby should kill the doctor. Like, oh, shut up.
She doesn't seem very good. Yeah, no, that tracks. I agree. Based on all my knowledge of Phoebe, I say that tracks.
My Margoyle will be Leo.
Nice.
For that, I'm looking forward to having a good baby in the house comment. Because, like, dude, it's a time and a place for this.
Yeah.
Also, his whole, like, oh, I'm going to go check with the elders. Bye. Like, I don't know. It's just outstandingly useless in this episode. Getting thrown into the couch, and then the whole, don't touch that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He just, plays the blundering boyfriend character, it seems. So it's, yeah.
All right, so final thoughts. Mickey, as your first Charmed episode, what do you come away with? What'd you think?
Oh, this show was a ride. I loved every second of it just because, the very beginning, going in blind, they're just, yelling off jargon at each other, and I'm just like, oh, wow, there's rabbit holes beyond rabbit holes to dig into here. So I might dig into the Wikipedia after this. I don't think I'm going to ever watch another episode unless it's with you guys. So.
You're our permanent co-host. Sorry, you have to suffer.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay.
Phelan, what'd you think of this episode? Did it hold up?
Nope. It's terrible. There's so much glancing over the evil Phoebe did and just her coming up with excuses, and like we're talking about, it's just quickly sweeping up a storyline so that they can move on to something else. Just one of Charm's specialties. It's like, we don't want to finish what we started here, so let's just wrap it up real quick and lazy. I feel like Dane should have been a thing, but it's just like, oh, we easily blow him up. Oh, let's make a big deal out of the giant. Oh, we blow him up easily. It's boring.
Phelan stands Dane, so do I. I stand you, Dane.
Oh, man. I should have picked Daryl as my Margoyle. Can I change it to Daryl? Because I feel like after the window thing...
that was pretty sad.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to switch it to Daryl and say Leo is like
runner-up.
Honorary mention. Yeah, runner-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, my final thoughts on this episode. It's particularly unsavory, to be honest. I just feel like they didn't think through the implications, and it just feels like really mean-spirited in a mean-spirited arc to begin with. So I don't know. There was some things I laughed at, but this episode is just dog shit.
I straight up just realized something, and this just connected in my head about all this, that I agree with your earlier theory. You think it was a storyline that they scrapped.
Yeah.
I think that they just took the script for that storyline and tried to rewrite it and change it, because throughout it, the baby starts attacking when they insult his dad and his mom. Like, there's a connection between family. Then at the end, they're just like, yeah, I know there's no connection.
Yeah,
that baby.
Like they started filming the episode with one idea and then ended it with another, mid-filming the episode.
It's very Frankenstein shoved together storyline-wise, but... I don't know, this show just seems like a crazy, shitty ride, and I love it. So thank you for introducing me to this.
You're welcome. Now, before we sign off, is there anything you want to tell the audience? Anything you want to plug, or your Twitter, maybe?
Oh, sure, thank you. You can follow me on Twitter at 8bitmickey. I tweet a lot and stuff, and I'm working on a new show that hopefully... pans out, but I'm working on it the weekend, so hopefully a show comes out soon on my YouTube, which is 8bitmickey. So if you want to subscribe, that's cool. If not, I mean, I'm not gonna make you. I'm not your boss. It's whatever.
Well, you're super funny, dude. So I know that the videos are gonna be great.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I'm very flattered and just having a lot of fun. So thank you.
No problem. All right, we're going to do our own little plug at the end here. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, we'd appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, or reviewed wherever you're listening to or watching this. You can find it in audio form at anchor.fm under Charmed Rewind, or you can find it on YouTube under youtube.com/movie nights the series. You can find Phelan's stuff at youtube.com/Phelis. You can support our stuff on Patreon, or see stuff ahead of time, or take part in polls, such as the Charmed polls, at patreon.com/movie nights and patreon.com/Phelis. Thanks to Peter Hunter for editing the podcast for us, and you can find him on Twitter at PretorHunter. And I believe this episode will be debuting the new theme song for Charmed Rewind, also made by Peter. So thank you, Peter. What hashtag should we end this with?
Hashtag Diaboo.
Oh, perfect. I like that. Diaboos.
Hashtag not now, Leo.
God, not now.
Hashtag baby did it.
Hashtag makes it easy.
Hashtag here was the baby.
And that's it, Charmanders. We'll see you next time.